Welcome, AP Environmental Science student. Uh, this, Welcome, AP Environmental Science student. This is the first lecture video of the year that will introduce you to the basic concepts of environmental science. To understand the basis of our environmental problems, you need to understand exponential growth. And exponential growth means increasing at an increasing rate. That is, something is increasing in size over smaller and smaller periods of time. An example might be, let's say my cat has 7 kittens, and each of the 7 kittens in 2 years has kittens, and it becomes 49 kittens. In 3 years, becomes 350 kittens, and in 7 years becomes 500,000 cats. Over smaller and smaller time periods, the population is getting bigger and bigger at a faster and faster rate. Humans on the planet are also reproducing exponentially. We reproduce faster than we die off. We'll get into more detail about this in a few chapters, but you need to understand the basics of exponential growth. Wouldn't it be wonderful if our money in the bank grew exponentially? I'll take this example. Let's say you're offered a job which pays either $100 a week or 1 penny the first week, 2 pennies the second week, 4 the third week, 8 the fourth week, and so on. You know you will only work at this job for 17 weeks. Which offer should you take? If you take the $100 a week, your money is going to grow linearly. You're going to earn the same amount of money each week during the same amount of time, so you earn $1,700. But if you take the penny option, that's an example of exponential growth where you're going to earn more and more over those weekly time periods, and you'll earn $1,310.71. So it's obvious which offer you would take here. Let's say you worked at the job for 20 weeks. Which pay scale would you choose? With the $100 a week option, you'd earn $2,000. If you take the penny option, the exponential growth is $10,500. The penny option is exponential growth. This is an exponential growth curve. We need to know how to recognize these. Exponential growth curves are always J-shaped. They have that J-shaped curve. Something is growing faster and faster over shorter and shorter periods of time. This shows our world population in billions, starting back in 1750. Around 1800, the Industrial Revolution came along in the 1800s, and that's when we really started to see an increase in the human population due to better availability of material goods, since they could be shipped distances using fossil fuels, more improved medicine during those time periods. So people began to live longer, and the population grew exponentially. You can see that the blue area represents developing countries, and the yellow area represents industrialized countries, also called developed countries. Developing countries are usually poor countries, agricultural based, low-income countries, as compared to developed countries, which are industrial based, usually have high incomes, good medical care, good social support structures. The United States is an industrialized or developed country. Many countries in Africa are developing countries. You can calculate the number of years it will take a population to double using the rule of 70. The rule of 70 tells you how many years it will take for the population to double. You take 70, divide by the percent population growth, which may be 1%, 2%, 15% population growth, whatever the percentage might be. Do that division, and that will tell you the number of years it takes the population to double. Despite economic growth that has occurred primarily in developed countries, about 50% of the people today still survives on an income of less than $3 a day in developing countries. Poverty affects the environment because people who are impoverished need area to farm. They cut down forests to grow food so that they can sustain their family. They cut down forests for fuel wood to boil water so it's clean drinking water, to cook food, to keep warm. And all other types of resources are used from the environment just to survive. It's hard to be concerned with the environment when your survival and your family's survival is on the line. So it's all about choices: the life of my child, or cutting down more trees for cropland for food. All right, at the beginning I said that exponential growth affects our environmental problems. There are five main ways that exponential growth affects our environment. Our population is experiencing exponential growth. As a result of the growing population, we're using resources and producing a lot of waste that affects our environment. We have to dig up resources, drill for resources, cut down resources, and as a result of what we consume, we produce a lot of waste that has to be dealt with. The more people there are on the planet, the more poverty many of them encounter. The greatest population growth is happening in developing countries, which are poor countries, so more people are living in poverty. Exponential population growth leads to loss of biological diversity, the number of different types of living things on the planet. As we use resources and produce waste, we lose different types of life on Earth. And then finally, population growth, exponential population growth affects global climate change. As we use resources, we use fossil fuels, which puts greenhouse gases into the air that affects our climate. Definitions that you should know. Environment. Environment is everything that affects a living organism. Everything that affects you or me, everything that affects a robin, everything that affects a wolf. That's the environment. You should know the difference between ecology and environmental science. Ecology is the study that explores the relationships between living things and their environment, whereas environmental science incorporates physical science, chemistry, ecology, social science, and ethical issues. It's how human beings use and manage their natural resources.